What's up, everyone? Welcome back to What's Warhammer. I'm Gracier Rob, and today I'm going to try to explain the new FAQ rules that came out, do a little public service, and because I've seen it debated from both sides successfully, which doesn't make any sense because, you know, they can't both be right? So here we go. I'm going to try and explain this real quick with examples, and if I get anything a little bit wrong, let me know in the comments. It's fine. But I think, I think I've kind of nailed it down here through the help of my gaming group, Warped Dice Gaming. So here we go. The rule that came out today was, it had to do with how the Ironjaws rule of smashing and bashing interacts with Slaanesh. Now, Slaanesh at the end of the charge phase basically gets to, on a dice roll, say you fight last. And the Ironjaws rule says they fight immediately. And because these two rules are incongruous, in this case, what happens is the ability that gets applied second takes precedence. So because the Slaanesh unit happens in the charge phase, and the Ironjaws happens in the fight phase, then because the Ironjaws rule gets applied second, that takes effect over the Slaanesh ability, right? But, and it says right on there, so I won't go into that here. I'll try not to make it more complicated than I need to. So that's what happens with Ironjaws, right? In this versus Slaanesh in this particular case. I don't have the right models for them, by the way, so I will be using proxies. Okay, so now we have the Wildfire Taurus Whirlwind of Destruction ability versus the Idoneth Deepkin High Tide ability. Now, this is very similar in that one says you fight last, and then the Deepkin ability says you fight at the start. And even though it says which gets applied first takes precedence, in this example, because the Deepkin ability happens in the fight phase, I guess is what we're saying. For now, like, they don't actually say when the High Tide ability takes place. Like, it says in that battle round, but it doesn't say at the start of the battle round. So again, this needs an FAQ. But in this bit right now, what the ruling is that the Deepkin ability does not take precedence over the Beast of Chaos ability. So in this case, the Deepkin fight second, right? So you're naturally thinking that because the Slaanesh ability happens at the end of the charge phase, and the Deepkin ability has sort of been ruled here to say that it happens in the combat phase, even though that's not actually the case, that they would cancel each other out, and that they're contradicting each other, which they are. Everything is the same so far. But the difference between the Beast of Chaos rule and the Slaanesh rule is that the Slaanesh rule actually has a passage in the Slaanesh tome that says if a unit that is affected by this battle trait is also affected by any other rules that would allow it to fight at the start of the following combat phase, that unit is not affected by this rule, and those rules then cancel each other out. And so this, within the Slaanesh ability, it actually has something that says it cancels each other out. So it's no longer the case that is conflicting, because this has something that specifically states as a caveat within the rule itself. Okay, so what I just said was gobbledygook, and you're going, come on, man, get it together, right? You're not helping. Okay, I understand. I'm just doing my best here, though, and I'll try to show an example now. Okay, so this Tyrannocyte represents the Keeper of Secrets. Okay. And these Deepkin are actually Deepkin. Okay, so the end of the Slaanesh charge phase, RAR, it has charged, and it applies this, and we're in High Tide, that this Deepkin unit that is partially painted, and I apologize, as well as the Tyrannocyte, I'm just realizing, gets applied right at the end of the charge phase, and so it says these guys fight last, right? Now we move into the combat phase, and the Deepkin unit has an ability that says that it fights first. So, as previously stated, normally whatever happens afterward takes precedence. But with the Slaanesh unit, the Slaanesh rule, I mean, it says that if they are incongruous, then they cancel each other out and they just fight normally, right? Okay, so we understand Slaanesh versus Deepkin. Now we are going to move on to Slaanesh versus Ironjaws. And to represent Ironjaws, I'm going to put some partially painted and converted and magnetized miniatures as the Ironjaws. So, and if you want to hear this guy's story, he's got a little backstory. Maybe stick around at the end. I might teach you about this guy that I converted here. So, okay, here we go. So these guys, actually, this isn't a legal unit. He can't have a power fist and this guy with a chainsaw. Anyway. Okay, sorry guys. Anyway, this is a unit of 2 Ironjaws, okay? So the same thing that happens. Rar, the keeper charges in, right? Now, in this case, the keeper is applying you fight last at the end of the charge phase, right? So that happened at the end of the charge phase, and now these guys die. They get killed by the keeper. Blech. But the smashing and bashing rule means they get to fight immediately. But what you're saying, it's not the end of the combat phase. But in this ability is activated after this one, so the Slaanesh FAQ ruling says that this overrules that. Okay? I hope that was clear. I've done the best I can under the circumstances. It's really hard to explain, and honestly, this rules writing has not been done particularly well. It's getting layered on top of layers, and it's very confusing even to people who are really into this game and play it competitively, as is in the case with my gaming group. We were going around and around, and yeah, it's been a real pain in the butt to kind of figure out and everything. So I really think that maybe they should go back to square one and kind of rewrite it. And as the Deepkin's claim to fame is the high tide ability, I kind of feel like they're kind of losing out on every front here, because against Beasts of Chaos, they fight afterward, because the Beast of Chaos rule gets applied afterward, I guess, because it happens at the start of the battle round. But then against Slaanesh, it cancels each other out, right? So, whatever. Regardless, I hope this helped. And, I'll see you guys next time. And I'll just kind of... actually, you know what? Maybe I'll explain this guy in another video or something. Or people can just ask me about it and I'll explain it. But he's got a funky little backstory that I wrote because just to do this conversion, essentially. Okay, it's not capturing him, so I give up. Anyway, hope this helped. See you guys next time.